All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Just to let you know, there's about a 15-second lag or so from the live stream to what I'm actually saying. So I'm reading the comments. Okay. So if I go a little too fast, type in your question whenever it pops up. I kind of intend this live stream today to be more of a Q&A. It says it's restricted. Um, Damien. Hi, Alexa. Hi, Matthew. It does if you use the Chromebook. Okay. Good morning, Stephanie. All right. All right. Give me a second. Let me see if I could change. Hi, Alexa. Hi, Matthew. Okay, so it says it must be approved for me to view. All right. Okay. Does anybody else have the issue that it says that it's restricted. I'm not sure how to change the setting to make it restricted. I think it might have something to do with just the setup of your Chromebooks, that they don't allow you to watch certain videos. But my videos are public, so I'm not sure what I can do to make them less restricted. I did have to put that it was not for children, because otherwise it would block the chat, and so I wanted to see the chat. I think maybe the best way, maybe you can follow along on your phone. There, yeah, I think that might be the best. So hopefully it won't eat up your data too much. And then if I still have some music, okay, yeah, I think it honestly just has to do with, is it like a Go Guardian restriction, or is it just it just won't open up that particular video? Mhm. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, if you can follow along on your phone, that's great too. If you have another laptop at home, maybe that's not a Chromebook. Um, I mean, you guys are smart. Just put like a VPN on it or something. Maybe it'll work. Okay. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I don't intend on letting this live stream be too long. I actually shifted what I wanted to do today, and I think I'm gonna spend some time just doing like a quick like question and answer portion to the toy factory project. So I know we talked about us, that I assigned it the day that we took our test on Friday. So if you haven't, okay, I think it's the email. Explain the project. So today I'm only gonna explain the project, and then on Thursday I'm gonna do notes. So I didn't want to overwhelm you guys with um, this transition right now. So today I'll just talk about the project a little bit. All right. So first thing, the project that you have access to, make sure that you make a copy. So you guys probably only have view only. So it's a little different on my end because I have the full access to it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a copy for myself. So you can go ahead and do that by file and make a copy. Okay. And you probably want to do the entire presentation because you want to keep the project as is. You're basically just filling it in. Okay. So you're not going to add any new slides to this. All right. So go ahead and click on entire presentation, make a copy. I'm going to put it somewhere in my unit folder, unit 5 assignments. Yeah, that seems okay. And then, yeah, that's about it. Okay, so hit okay. And so make sure that whatever you're doing, you're working on the copy. All right, so the project kind of starts off with giving you these restrictions, right? So we have this kid who's building toy cars and toy trucks. For each car, he needs 4 wheels, 2 seats, 1 gas tank, right? So you need to have those basic requirements for the car, right? You can't make a car with 3 wheels or with just 1 seat and no gas tank, right? So you need those basic requirements. To make each truck, he needs 6 wheels, 1 seat, and 3 gas tanks. Okay, so we're not talking like a regular pickup truck. These are like work trucks, all right? So 6 wheels, 1 seat, 3 gas tanks. So his storeroom has 36 wheels, right? So his storeroom is everything that he has in total, right? So let's say he just has a couple of bins, a bin with 36 wheels, a bin with 14 seats, and then another bin with 15 gas tanks. And he's trying to decide how many cars and trucks to build so that he can make the largest possible amount of money when he sells them. Okay, so ultimately he's trying to decide how many of each should I make so that when I sell them, I maximize my profit. Okay, so we want to help him figure out what his options are. What are all the choices he can make about how many cars and how many trucks he's going to build. Okay, make a list of all possible combinations, then plot the number of possible numbers in trucks in the first quadrant of a graph. Okay, so a couple things there, right? So first of all, we have to decide how many choices, how many possibilities are there, okay, of the things that he can make. You want to make a list, and that's where the next slide comes into play. Okay, so plot the number of possible cars and trucks in the first quadrant. So when you do that, you're going to have to use some Desmos, and so I'll kind of get you started on that. All right, so if we go here, all right, so I'm just going to make like a quick little note for myself so I can keep track of what my basic requirements are. So I'm going to copy and paste this just for now because I don't want to have to keep switching slides. So I'm going to copy, and then over here inside of a text box. Okay, so this is just temporary, so I know what's going on. Okay, so to make each car, he needs 4 wheels, 2 seats, and a gas tank. Okay, to make a truck, he needs 6 wheels. All right, and so then his storeroom, and then I can just probably delete the rest. Okay, so this is all the information I need. All right, well, you want to start listing out options. Okay, so I know that, okay, in order to make a car, I need 4 wheels, right? So let me see just first of all how many maximum number of cars I can make, right? If I have 36 wheels possible, okay, well, I guess I could make 9, right? But if I wanted to make 9 cars, I would also need 18 seats. And I don't have 18 seats, so then I can't make 9 cars, right? So maximum at this point is 7, right? But then each car needs a gas tank, and I can't, let me see. I guess I could have 7 gas tanks, right? So that could be one possibility. All right, so let's just say we make a car, right? Let's say we use all of our gas tanks on the cars, right? Okay, so that could be up to 15, right? It could be up to 15, but I don't have 30 seats, right? So I definitely cannot do 15 cars. Okay, I don't have 60 wheels either, so I can't make 15 cars. Okay, so it seems like I'm limited, right? So maybe it seems like here that I'm limited by the number of seats, right? Because if I were to make 7 cars, I could use all 14 seats. I would use 28 wheels, and I would use 7 gas tanks, right? So that's one option, right? I could have 7 cars. Now, based on what's left, can I make any trucks? Right, so just like some quick notes. If I do 7 cars, well, that means I used 28 wheels, 14 seats, and 7 gas tanks, right? Which leaves me with 6 wheels, 8 wheels, no seats, and 8 gas tanks, right? So that's an option, right? But if I'm left with no seats, then I cannot even make one truck, right? So if I have 7 cars, then I can't make any trucks. Okay. And so, okay, so you can make up to a maximum of 7 cars. Well, now work your way backwards. Okay, I now have 7 cars that I can make. That's the maximum. Well, what if now I change it to 6 cars? Right, now with 6 cars, I'm only going to use 24 wheels. I'm only going to use 12 seats. And then I'm only going to use 7 gas tanks. Right? So then, based on what's left, I have 12 wheels. I have 2 seats. And I have 9 gas tanks. Okay. So with 6 cars, how many trucks can I make? Well, let's see. At least I can utilize 1 seat, right? So 1 truck. Because I have enough wheels and I have enough gas tanks. Okay. At least 1. Maybe 2. All right, let's see if I can make 2. So 2 trucks, that equals 12 wheels, 2 seats, and 6 gas tanks. Okay. So it looked like I had enough, right? Because now if I add up my totals, I got to make sure, let me see, 24 and 12, 36 wheels, that's okay. That's exactly enough. 12 seats for cars, 2 seats for trucks, that's 14 seats. And then if I use 6 gas tanks for the cars and 6 gas tanks for the 2 trucks, that only puts me at 12. So yeah, I have enough, right? So with 6 cars, I can make 2 trucks. Okay, so that's the process of how you want to fill in this chart. So you want to think of all of the possible options. You want to think of everything, right? So notice how I've already started by kind of systematically. Like I started with 7 cars, then I went down to 6 cars. Then I say, okay, next you probably want to try 5 cars, then maybe 4, then maybe 3, then maybe 2, then maybe 1, then maybe none, right? And so see like how many different options can I make, right? Using as many materials as I can, right? Without going over, obviously. All right. So now from here, okay, are there any questions so far about that process? Again, don't feel free to just stop me and ask a question at any point. If that doesn't quite make sense. But the goal here is you utilize as many options as you can. The more points, the better. Okay, but obviously if something isn't possible, then don't plot that point. Okay. All right. So once you have that down, fill all 3 charts as much as you can, right? So the charts doesn't mean that that's how many there are. Okay, it's just I made enough space for you, right? If you can't fill every single box, then that's okay. So you fill in as much as you can. Okay. All right. So the next part, side question: when is it due? Do we have to fill in all the charts? Do not have to fill in all the charts. Okay, as much as you possibly can. Okay. When is it due? I think I'm going to make it due. Let's see, maybe a week from I think a week from Thursday. So I think I'll set the due date as the 26th. Okay, so here's what would happen next. All right, so it says to organize all possible combinations that you can make. Go to desmos.com, right? So you notice down here you got some instructions. Go to Desmos, graph the ordered pairs, label the X and Y axis, and screenshot the graph. Paste a copy of your graph to the right of the tables. Okay, so obviously right now I only have 2 points, so that's all I'm going to be able to show. So let's go to Desmos. Let's start a graph. Okay, you only want to show the X and the Y axis. Why is that? Because you're not going to be able to make any negative cars or negative trucks, right? So what's the point of showing the negative sides of the X and the Y axis? All right, so if you want to adjust that, you can go right here, X axis. You can go up to the little wrench, and then you can show only what you want to show. So if I wanted to start at 0 for my X axis and then start at 0 for my Y axis, I can change both of those. Okay, but I'm gonna actually move it to like -1 and -1, just because it shows it a little bit more clearly, right? So you can see that most of it is cut off, but I can see the full positive X and the full positive Y axis. All right, so from there I would just want to plot all the points. Okay, so I have 2 points so far. I have 7, 0 and 6, 2. So I want 7, 0 and 6, 2. Okay, now notice that it says right here to label. I don't think we're going to label the points, because if you do that, then it's going to get real messy. You're going to have a lot of labeling. You're going to have a lot of points, right? A lot of this is going to get filled in. You'll see that if you're doing it right, you're going to have a lot of points here. So you don't need to label them as long as the points are clear, okay? And then it's just asking you to then label the X and Y axis. Okay, so label the X and Y axis. So to do that, we can go here. So X axis, you see where it says add a label, and Y axis where it says add a label. Well, if my X axis, right, I have to decide which one I want it to be. So typically the table, the one that's on the left, most of the time this represents your X, and then the other side would represent the Y. Okay, so then when you go to the graph, then you want to match those up as well. So over here for X-axis, this could be your cars. And then your Y-axis, this would be your trucks. Okay, and then I believe, I don't think you can move them, but that's good enough. All right, so then once you screenshot, if you're on a Chromebook, right, whatever method that might be, for me, I would just hit a screenshot. I can copy exactly what I want to show on the screenshot. So I can just go ahead and show this part right here. And then I would go back and then paste it right on the right side. And so you want to end up with your graph that shows all of your possible points, all of the points that you got here from your tables, and they show up again on the graph. Okay. So is that clear? Any questions on how to do that with Desmos? All right. So now the next part. Okay, so the next part does get a little bit more involved. Okay, so you want to think about this now in terms of, all right, I see all my points. Okay, you're gonna have a lot more points here listed, and then you want to go back and look at each one of these questions. All right, and so first of all, it's saying he wants to make as much profit as possible. Use your list from the previous slide to find which combination of cars and trucks will make the most profit based on the information below. Okay, so you got to go back at some point, take a look at your list, and you got to decide which one's going to give me the best profit. So which of his options gives him the greatest profit if he makes $1 on each car and $1 on each truck that he sells? Okay, so he's going to make a profit of $1 per car and profit of $1 per truck. So then looking through all of your options, once you have them all listed, you have to decide which one gives him the greatest profit. Okay. Then you will go ahead and answer the one below, right? How do you know this option provides the most profit? Okay. How do you know? All right. So you're going to have to explain a little bit more there. All right. Then on this side, right? So think of this as like a 2 scenario situation. So maybe if you need to like split it with a line, you need to draw something here to make it clear for yourself. Go ahead and, draw something. Okay, so now because the scenario now changes and it says that the market has changed, Auto can now make $2 for each truck, but only $1 for each car, right? So now the profits have increased for the truck, but they've stayed the same for the car. So now what is the best choice for the number of cars and the number of trucks to make and to sell in this situation, right? Which is it going to change from what you chose maybe in this question, right? Because now you're making more money for trucks. So maybe is it worth it to make more trucks instead? Okay. And then explain how you can be sure. All right. So a lot of it's going to have to be some testing, right? You're going to want to show how you know, right? So how do you know? Well, maybe incorporate some math here, right? So let me see. You probably don't need this explanation. I think here to answer the how, right? Utilize evidence. Okay. Math evidence. Okay. Show the profits for various scenarios. And then you can, right, so you can show us like, okay, this is how many trucks I can make. I'm limited because I only have so many supplies. And then, I can then show you how much profits I would make if I sold this many trucks and this many cars, or this many cars and this many trucks, right? So that's the idea. Okay. So that's slide number 3. Okay, that's slide number 3. So again, if questions pop up as you go, feel free to write them in, and then I'll go back and answer. Okay, let me know what slide it was that you may have had a question on too. Okay, now, when you get to number 4, you have to write inequalities to represent the relationship between the number of cars and the number of trucks for each restriction below. Okay, I'm telling you here what X represents. I'm telling you here what Y represents. I'm going to give you a hint that the type of functions that you have to write are not quadratics. These functions, the ones that you have to write for the wheels, for the seats, and for the gas tanks, need to be linear inequalities. Okay, aka in the form of AX plus BY less than restriction. Okay. Now the less than, it could be less than or equal to, okay? Because you can use exactly the certain amount. So let me just give you an example here. Let me just help you out with the wheels. And if you see how the setup for the wheels is, it'll be pretty simple to set up the one for the seats. Okay, so for my wheels, okay, I know that I'm talking about for each car, I have to use a certain amount of wheels, right? So if I go back to the original and I'm focusing on the car, I need 4 wheels, all right? So I can use 4, and X represents the number of cars, right? So for each car that I make, I would multiply it by 4, right? That makes sense, okay? Now, if I'm going to make trucks, well, how many wheels do I need for a truck? Well, again, go back. I need 6 wheels for one truck. Okay, so this is telling me how many wheels I'm going to need depending on how many cars I'm going to make, right? So 4 for every car, 6 for every truck. However, I'm limited because I don't have unlimited number of wheels, right? I say that I only have, what, 36 wheels? Okay, so if I only have 36 wheels, then the capacity of wheels I can make, right, in this case, well, I have to find the symbol for it. I don't know if it's going to give it to me. Let me insert the math. Is there math anywhere? Tools, add-ons, math equations. Okay, let me see if I can add math equations here. Not whitelisted for install by admin. Unavailable for install. Okay, let's try something else. I think I have equation. Nope. Okay. Okay, well, in the event that you can't use that symbol, maybe you can copy paste it from Desmos. Okay, because we know it can be less than or equal to, because you can use exactly up to 36 wheels. Let me see if I can paste it. No, didn't work. Okay, so you can leave it like this. I'll understand what that means, but some of you should be able to download this add-on. If you go to add-ons and you go to math equations, for whatever reason, it's not letting me. I think I have something with my Google Suite that doesn't let me. But in this case, the wheels, we know we're limited by 36, right? So the amount of wheels I can make depends on how many cars I choose to create and how many trucks I choose to create, but I have to be less than, I can always be underneath 36, or I can be exactly 36, right? So you can see how then you could create equations for the seats and equations for the gas tanks, okay? From there, you want to use Desmos to graph the system of inequalities on the same set of axes as your points, okay? So here, this should say as your points. So you're just basically creating everything on the same one. All right, so then I would have a new equation here somewhere. I could type it in as 4x plus 6y less than or equal to 36, and I would be given a line like this. Okay, so you're gonna start to see how it's related to what we've done in class, right? Where we're looking for feasible regions. You're gonna have multiple lines. You're gonna see that some of those points have to fit within your feasible regions, because if you don't, then obviously you maybe accidentally included a category where you had, I don't know, let me just give you one. Maybe you had 10 cars and 2 trucks, right? And then if you were to plot that 10 cars, 2 trucks, where's that point, right? Let me slide this over. It's this point right here, right? So clearly that's not going to fit into the feasible region of the overlap, because that's just not possible. That would require you to use 46 wheels, and you don't have that many. Okay, so points like this wouldn't work. So you know that you're on the right track when everything kind of looks like it fits. All of your points fit within those regions. All right. So that basically gets you through slide number 4. Okay. Once you get to slide number 5, if you've done it correctly, it's going to ask you what are the vertices of the polygon that outline your region. Okay. Your region meaning your feasible region. Right. So the vertices is like what we did in class, that worksheet that we did, right? What are the vertices? And then we ended up finding those 4 points in the case of the worksheet in class. In this case, you might have more, you might have less. Okay, so utilize all of the vertices. Okay. For this one, I forgot. Why is it okay to assume that x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0? Again, it goes back to it's an application, right? We can't have negatives of real things, right? That doesn't quite make sense. Okay, so explain why. All right. Okay. Then here you get kind of a conceptual thing, like how could you find the exact coordinates of the points if you could not read them easily from the graph? So what they mean is the exact coordinates, they mean those vertices, those vertices of the polygon. So how could you do it if you didn't have a graph, right? What other methods or of ways of solving when you have 2 lines? What else can you utilize to find where they intersect, right? That would be another, that's a question that you have there. Okay, then plot the points on your graph in Desmos and take a screenshot. Okay, so those points will probably already be there. You just maybe have to highlight them. Take a screenshot, paste it below. Okay, so slide number 5, not too bad. All right, now when you get to slide number 6, it's kind of hard to explain these last 2 slides because you need a lot of information already, which you haven't quite created. So essentially right now, you need to be able to get through, you should be able to get through those first 5. If you don't have the first 5 slides completed, you're not going to be able to answer the questions from 6 and 7. Okay, so are there any points, right? So just going through, are there any points in the solution region that represent choices that seem more likely to give auto the maximum profit? Where are they? Why do you think they show the best choices? Again, so that's something that you have to interpret from reading what you've created. Okay, write an equation to represent auto's total profit if he makes $1 on each car and $2 on each truck. Okay, here I can help you. I can help you a little bit on this one. All right, so if you're going to represent an equation for total profit, well, you're trying to find out how much profit can I make. Okay, so I know I'm starting with P equals, right? The profit is equal to, well, how much profit can I make from a car and how much profit can I make from a truck, right? So my profits will end up being, right, whatever I can make from each car, or from each truck. Okay, so let's say I sold a car. Car is represented by X, right? X is your car, the amount of cars that you can sell. And $2 for each truck. Well, each truck is Y, right? So very similar to some of these inequalities, right? But in this case, we leave it as P because we don't know how much profit we're going to make. Well, I know that my profit is 1 for a car, right? So think about how then I get to build the additional part, right? I'm making $1 per car, so I have 1 times X. If I have now $2 per truck, well, I can then add $2 for each truck. Okay, and then that helps you get a profit function. Okay, that's a function. Okay, now you might have to figure out how do I graph that now. Okay, so that's your function, and then you want to utilize it down here, right? What if auto ended up with a profit of only $8? Show and explain how to use the graph of the profit equation when P equals 8, right? So now if you know P equals 8, you can make a substitution here, and you might be able to get a graph out of that. Okay, so you want to use the graph to figure out how many cars and trucks he made to make him a profit of 8. All right, so again, that's something that you're not going to be able to see unless you have everything graphed already. Okay, so you need your points. You need all these points filled in. Okay, you're going to need your overlap regions, right, for each one of these. And then you'll be able to answer most of this in slide number 6. Okay, then again, you're utilizing a profit equation. Which points do you need to test in the profit equation to get the maximum profit? Is it necessary to try all points? Okay, so you need your profit equation graphed. You're gonna have to read it, decide what points to test to get a maximum profit. Then, what if Otto got greedy and wanted to make a profit of 14? How could you use a profit line to show Otto that this would be impossible based on his current pricing? Okay, so you might need to create a profit function, right? This time with a profit of 14, right? How would that graph look? How would it be different from the one that you maybe graphed the slide before when P was 8, right? And then the last one is find Otto's highest possible profit if he gets $3 per car and $2 per truck. Find the profit expression and find the best combination of cars and trucks to maximize the profit. Okay, so on these last three, okay, you definitely want to show what does this equation look like now that I have a profit of $3 per car and $2 per truck, right? What would that line look like? Or find the profit expression and find the best combinations, right? So you might have to plug in some points, figure out, right, what is it that's going to help me make the most amount of money. All right, so it's not too bad. Primarily, once you get started with the tables, you should have enough information to be able to plot, to answer some of these questions, to be able to answer this as well, this one as well, and you should be okay now with this one, right, with this hint down here. Okay, so that's your hint. Okay, this hint also helps you set up profit equations for the other questions. Okay, so that's pretty much the walkthrough. I think that you just kind of have to jump into it and just start trying to see what you get. When you turn it into me, you can share it, right? So go up here, go to share my email. I'll share that email down here. Let me send it to you. And when you share it, give me the ability to not to edit, but to comment. Okay, give me the ability to comment, and I can give you some feedback before you officially turn it in. I don't want you guys to turn it in not knowing like whether you have it right or wrong, right? Like I can give you some feedback before. You can send me questions, but I think the same way that you share it with me, you can maybe, like, if you're not sure how to answer this one right here, right, and you have everything else above that, right, again, you need to have at least the first 4 slides done in order to be able to answer the rest. So if you don't have these 3 done, 2, 3, and 4, then I can't really help you, because then I can't tell you to go back and look at a certain part. But let's say, right, you have a question on let's say number 6, and it's this question, right? So you can highlight this, you can put a comment for yourself and just be, tell me what it is that you're confused about for the question, and then I can then see what parts of the project it is that you need help on. Don't just send me the whole project. Please don't send me the whole project and be like, is it good? Don't do that, okay? Because I'm just like, if there's a lot of parts that are wrong, I'm going to send it back and be like, you need to be specific about which parts you are not sure about. Okay, so work with each other, right? Communicate with each other, try to help each other out, right? Like, just like if we were in class, right? You obviously have the ability to communicate with each other. Just please try to stay away from just taking somebody's project and copying it. It's going to be really easy to tell who copied off of who, because now I have digital receipts. Okay, so again, the plagiarism is still in effect, even though it's an online class now. All right, so with that said, I think that's pretty much it for me. Are there any questions for me at this point? All right, sounds good. I'm getting some feedback from Martin and Jose. So, again, if there's anything else, please feel free to reach out. Send me a message. Send me your project. Um, Again, with little comments, parts that you're not sure about. Um, and then I can respond. Okay, and once you're ready, to turn it in, then you can let me know that when you share it, or send me a message saying like, okay, I'm done with it, like it's ready to be graded. Okay, but the deadline will be the 26th, I believe I said. Yeah, so not this Thursday, next Thursday. So basically, you have about a week and a half to get it done. Um, and what else? And then we'll start actual lectures on Thursday. Okay, so same time on Thursday, 10:30. I'll actually be lecturing. So if you can tell your friends, send them a message, let them know to log on today. If they weren't here today, that's okay. Um, I think they'll probably be able to rewatch the video and get the gist of the notes for this project. But with the lectures, I would appreciate if everyone is there, or most people are there, because I don't want anyone to fall behind. We're starting a new unit, so I want to make sure that if there's any questions that need to be asked, that they're asked immediately. Okay. Um, so I'd appreciate it if you guys could just help spread the word and share the link. Maybe let them know that they might have to watch it on their phone or something. So make sure that they have Wi-Fi. That way their data doesn't get eaten up. Okay. But other than that, I think I'm gonna sign off now. So I guess we don't have too many questions. So I'm gonna leave you guys alone because I know you guys have a lot to do for all your other classes. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Okay. So take care. Take care of your families. Make sure that you're not exposing yourself unnecessarily. And stay safe. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good day.